In the town of Elmore, where the extraordinary mingled effortlessly with the everyday, the Watterson family appeared to lead a seemingly normal life. Gumball, Darwin, Anais, Nicole, and Richard were a tight-knit family, navigating the quirks of their bizarre world. But beneath the facade of amusement lay a sinister undertone, a terrible truth that would soon engulf them. It all began one evening, as the sun sank below the horizon, casting eerie, crimson shadows across the town. The Wattersons gathered around the dinner table, their laughter echoing in the air as they enjoyed a simple meal. However, as the dinner progressed, Gumball froze in mid-bite. His eyes widened, and he began to mumble incoherently. "Is something wrong, Gumball?" Nicole asked, her voice tinged with concern. Gumball's eyes darted around the room as if he knew he were witnessing things that shouldn't exist. I don't know, Mom, something's not right. Reality, it's slipping away. The room began to tremble, and an eerie, otherworldly hum filled the air. The wallpaper writhed and pulsated, and the faces on the family portraits twisted into grotesque, unsettling expressions. The very fabric of existence seemed to unravel. The family leaped from their seats in terror as the world around them distorted and mutated. Furniture transformed into monstrous, inanimate beasts, and the walls oozed strange, viscous fluids. Gumball clung to Darwin, his eyes welling up with tears. "What's happening to us, Gumball?" Darwin whispered, his voice quivering. "I don't know, dude. I don't know." Gumball clung to his brother for dear life, watching as Anais and their parents struggled to maintain their balance. As they attempted to escape their rapidly deteriorating house, they were confronted by bizarre horrors. The once pleasant residents of Elmore now appeared as nightmarish, distorted beings. The typically cheerful town square had transformed into a grotesque carnival of chaos, with the sky itself throbbing in unnatural colors. The Wattersons fled, their panic-stricken footsteps echoing through the distorted streets. But no matter how swift they ran, they could not escape the malevolent force that was unraveling their world. Reality itself seemed to mock them, bending and warping in ways that defied all reason. At the town's outskirts, they found themselves in a desolate, barren wasteland. The ground was cracked and lifeless, and Elmore, once vibrant, had become a nightmarish hellscape. Gumball, his voice trembling, turned to his family. "We need to stick together, no matter what. We're all we have left," he said, trying to sound brave. Their unity could not stave off the horror that awaited them. In the distance, a towering, amorphous figure loomed, its presence filling them with an overwhelming sense of dread. It seemed to be the embodiment of the chaos that consumed their world. The creature's form shifted and morphed, defying all description. It had no eyes, no mouth, just a nightmarish, shifting mass of ever-changing shapes. It reached out towards them, and as it did, the very air around them seemed to twist and contort. Gumball, determined to protect his family, summoned all the courage he could muster. "Stay behind me," he shouted, though he could barely hear his own voice over the deafening cacophony of their crumbling world. He charged at the creature, but it was as if he was attacking smoke. His blows passed through the entity without effect. In response, the creature let out a bone-chilling, discordant wail that sent shockwaves through their very souls. The family clung to each other as the world around them descended into madness. The ground beneath them cracked open, and they found themselves falling into an endless abyss, surrounded by the maddening echoes of their world's demise. As they fell, their bodies twisted and contorted, their very essence torn asunder. They screamed, but their voices were swallowed by the ever-deepening darkness. They had become lost, not just in a fractured world, but within the very depths of their own fears. Time itself became an abstract concept, and they drifted through a nightmarish limbo, caught between existence and oblivion. Their memories, their identities, and their very humanity unraveled in the void. Gumball and his family had once been sort of protectors of their surreal world, but now they were nothing more than fragmented, tortured souls, condemned to an eternal torment. The horror of Elmore's disintegration had left its mark on them, and there was no escape. The amazing world they once knew had fallen apart, and they had been left to endure an eternity of suffering in a nightmarish abyss. Then, in the heart of the abyss, Gumball was visited by a vision, a spectral figure that shimmered like a wisp of smoke. It was the ghost of Elmore's past, a wispy, ethereal apparition. "Gumball Watterson," it said, its voice a mournful whisper. "You were once a protector of Elmore. You must confront the darkness that has consumed your world." Gumball, though broken and battered, felt a glimmer of determination rekindle within him. How can I confront the malevolent force? It seems invincible." The ghost shimmered with a faint spectral smile. "You must journey further into the heart of the abyss, to the very source of this darkness. There, you will find the answers you seek." Gumball nodded, his eyes filled with grim resolve. "I'll do whatever it takes." Guided by the ghost of Elmore's past, Gumball descended deeper into the abyss. The void seemed to stretch infinitely, its emptiness gnawing at his very soul. As he ventured further, he began to encounter grotesque manifestations of his own fear and regrets. One by one, these manifestations confronted him, each one a haunting reflection of his past actions and insecurities. He had to confront his guilt, shame, and self-doubt, battling them as they manifested into grotesque and terrifying forms. The guilt he felt for not being able to protect his family and friends from the malevolent force that took on a monstrous shape. Its accusatory whispers echoed in his mind, condemning him for his perceived failures. Gumball fought back, determined to overcome his guilt and carry on. Next, his shame manifested as a grotesque, disfigured version of himself. It taunted him with his past mistakes and weaknesses, reminding him of his perceived inadequacies. Gumball battled the shame, finding the strength to accept his flaws and shortcomings. His self-doubt, embodied by a looming shadowy figure, sought to erode his confidence. It whispered insecurities and uncertainties into his ear, making him question his every action. Gumball fought against the doubt, reaffirming his belief in himself and his determination to confront the malevolent force. As he overcame each manifestation, Gumball grew stronger and more resolute. He found solace in the memory of his family and the love he had for Penny and his unwavering commitment to reclaim his world. With each victory, the darkness that had consumed him began to recede. Finally, Gumball reached the heart of the abyss, the source of the malevolent force. There stood before him, a towering, shifting mass of darkness. Gumball could see that it was not invincible. It was a creature of chaos, feeding on the fear and despair of those it consumed. Gumball spoke with a newfound strength in his voice. "You took everything from me, but I won't let you win." The creature let out a deafening, discordant wail, sending shockwaves through the void. It lashed out with tendrils of darkness, trying to subdue Gumball, but he fought back with a fierce determination. The battle that unfolded in the abyss was a clash between the indomitable will of one against the malevolent chaos that sought to destroy everything. Gumball, fueled by the love and memories of his family and friends, fought with a fervor that could not be extinguished. He summoned the strength to stand up against the malevolent force, battling it not only for his own survival, but for the salvation of his family, his love, and his world. The very essence of his being burned with determination as he pushed forward, knowing that this confrontation was the culmination of his journey. The malevolent force, though formidable, could not withstand the unyielding spirit of Gumball, and with a final resounding cry, he shattered the entity, causing it to dissipate in the abyss. In the wake of his victory, the abyss began to crumble, and Gumball found himself awakening back in Elmore, but the town had changed, irreparably transformed. It was no longer the whimsical, surreal place it once was. Instead, it had become a reflection of the darkness that had consumed it, a twisted, nightmarish version of its former self. The town was no longer vibrant and peculiar, but instead a decrepit and dismal place. The once cheerful residents had become grotesque, mindless shells, consumed by fear and despair. The laughter that once filled the air had been replaced by anguished cries. Gumball's heart sank as he realized that his actions in the abyss had not restored Elmore, but had plunged it into deeper despair. The malevolent force he had fought against had left a lasting mark, a darkness that could not be undone. The very essence of Elmore had been irreparably tainted. The Watterson family had endured unimaginable horrors, only to emerge from the abyss to a world even more nightmarish than the one they had left behind. Their efforts had been in vain, and their struggles had left them with a hollow victory. Years passed, and the Watterson family had failed to restore Elmore to its former glory. The town had become a haunting reminder of the horrors they had faced, a place of suffering and despair. The love they once shared had been replaced by deep sadness, a constant reminder of their failure. The amazing world they had once known had been forever lost, and there was no way to reclaim it. The love of Gumball's life, Penny and his friends were erased from existence, and there was no way to bring them back. Gumball had to live with the knowledge that he had failed to protect those he cherished most, that his actions in the abyss had only made things worse. The darkness that had consumed their world continued to encroach, and there was no escape from the eternal torment that had become their existence. As the years went by, Gumball and his family could only hope that someday, someone or something would rescue them from their nightmarish horror that had become their existence. But in the depths of their despair, there was no one to hear their silent pleas, and the darkness continued to consume them, one terrifying moment at a time.